If you're feeling rushed and unmotivated in the morning, it might not be you. It might be your morning routine. Let's dive into creating a morning that you'll love before 2025 hits. This is what we're going to talk about on today's episode of Creative Life in Motion. I'm your host and BFF, or soon to be, Karen Wilson. And on this show, we don't wait until we reach our goals to be happy. We fall in love with who we are being along the way. If you feel like nothing is off in your morning, you probably have a solid morning routine. You probably get up and do the same things in the same order. And that's basically what a morning routine is. And it might not be broken unless you feel off. I think that the good question to ask, and I ask myself this all the time, is my morning routine, is it helping me or is it hurting me? And I always look at it in different seasons of my life because I'll have a different morning routine in the winter than I do in the summer, just because of the lack of daylight hours in the winter. And I covered that on another video not too long ago. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to go through the normal morning routine stuff and share some of the things that I do, but I'm sharing them with you so that you do what I do. It's not that I have the perfect morning routine. I think the goal is to experiment with what lights your fire. So I haven't pulled from the deck of Sacred Self-Care, the Oracle deck, in a while. These cards are by Jill Pyle. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And so what I'm going to do throughout this podcast or vodcast, if you're listening on audio, this is also available on YouTube where you can find all the links in the descriptions and you can actually see me talk, have facial expressions, and see the cards as they come out. Over the course of this time that we're spending together, I'm going to pull 3 cards. Now, all of these are things that you can do or stack into your morning routine or try something new, put it in a morning routine. And let's just be real, okay? A morning routine or a stack of self-care items or things that you do to love on yourself and take care of the things that truly matter to you in a systemized stack does not have to be done in the morning. Lots of highly successful people say that that's the best way to start your day out is by filling your cup. And I do subscribe to that Kool-Aid because it does help me. But something, to think about is that if you're getting in your self-care every day, then there's no need to change that. What you're doing works. And your morning routine, if you don't feel like it's hurting you, you feel like it's helping you, then there's no need to change. But you might want to add one of these cool little, 5-minute things, 10-minute things to your day. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that together live here. Let's first talk about some of the challenges that can happen in the morning. I know for me, a lot of times, I'll pick up my phone first thing. Like I wear an Aura ring, which tracks my sleep, and the first thing that I want to know is how I slept. And if I go on my phone, that Aura app is really close to like the YouTube app and the social media app and my email app. And I have to really make a conscious effort not to go from one app to the next. Other habits are skipping breakfast. I'll sit down to work and I'll have a coffee. And then before I know it, it's like 3 hours, which is fine if I've planned to intermittent fast. Sometimes I can have the tendency to wait too long before I have some fuel in the morning, like a good breaking of the fast. And sometimes I put myself inside a window where I'm like rushing. So I have to hork down my food to get to that virtual meeting. Can you believe that? Like all of my work is virtual now, right? I used to have to actually get in the car and drive to work. And a lot of times I would like make a protein pancake and eat it on the way because I never made time for myself to eat. So that was something that, and still something that I work on is that whole time ignorance thing. Like thinking, yeah, I have enough time to make, cook, and eat breakfast in 15 minutes. What are you talking about? That's yeah, it's so not true. So let's talk about a new way to design your morning routine. I think that morning routines matter because they help you to feel focused and they help you to decrease overwhelm. So if you sometimes have a tendency to feel scattered or rushed or have things that keep nagging your brain throughout the day, planner or journal is a really good thing to start to think about. If I added 5 minutes of my morning journaling or writing down everything, all of my thoughts, how much more room would I have in my brain for other things, right? So think about that kind of thing when you're thinking about waking up. Morning routines increase clarity and energy and motivation and overall well-being, really. But you know that. That's why you're here. We're going to pull a card. Here I got my cards, been shuffling them. Pull one out and let's see what we have. Alone time. Well, that's a fantastic thing. Alone time. That's an amazing thing to add to a morning routine, don't you think? Like just like a few minutes alone. So let's see. Time alone, alone time. Here's a mantra you can say. I make time to focus on myself. And I love these little journal prompts that she puts in here. How does having alone time make you feel? What emotions and memories come up for you when you're alone? So, when you're journaling or, just spending time alone, like you don't have to use these journal prompts that I'm giving you, but doing the action is the first step. So if you were to just spend 2 minutes alone, maybe like if you have little kids, that has to be like in the bathroom. I know myself, it's just my husband and I and my dog. And sometimes I struggle to get alone time because we both work at home. Like, what if we all took 2 minutes and just were silent with our thoughts? How would that change your morning? And I'm asking you and I'm asking myself at the same time. So, um, that's a really good one. Okay. The key elements of a morning routine are usually reflection, movement, or nourishment. So, I mean, you think about, you journal, you move, and you fuel. That's usually the stack of a morning routine. Another healthy element of a morning routine is waking up at the same time every day, but not necessarily needing an alarm clock to do it. So, set your circadian rhythm, but that requires discipline to go to bed and not have your screen in front of you a couple hours before bed, right? So, having the circadian rhythm, it starts the night before, but that's also really important for the morning to try and wake up at the same time every day, even though it's a weekend. Joy in a morning routine. I get joy in my walking. I get joy in the writing. But any type of movement or creativity that brings you joy, that's definitely a fundamental of creating a morning routine that you'll love and that you can stick to. And like I said a moment before, you got to plan the night before. So you set yourself up for success. If you're planning to have joy in the morning, plan that the night before and make sure that it's in front of you, like on your work desk or, one of the first things you see when I had difficulties sticking to a walking schedule in the morning, I mean, goes years back. And one of the biggest things that would be in the way is the fact that I was always feeling guilty that I'll wake up my husband if I get up early to go for my walk. And so it didn't wake him up for me to wake up or get up. What woke him up was me getting dressed. So I would either put my clothes in the bathroom and I would get changed in the bathroom, or I'd actually sleep in them. Like, what do you need to do to be successful for your morning routine? It's not always forever that you have to, do these little hacks, but sometimes you have to give yourself a kickstart by being ready before you're there so that you don't give yourself an excuse, especially in the earlier days. Because once you fall in love with a morning routine, it's hard to, like, if you really love it, you won't be searching for something different because you'll feel the energy that it gives you. Another thing that I've also learned with the morning routines is to be flexible. Life is unpredictable. Going away from a morning routine gives you the insight to love your morning routine again, right? So when you go away for vacation, do you ever feel like when you come home, you need to quote unquote get back on track? Typically, that's just the stack of things you do in the morning that's different. And it feels different and it feels foreign and it's not as structured. And our bodies and our brains love structure. I'm not saying being rigid. I'm not saying being, super uber hard on yourself. It's just our bodies really like structure. You don't always have to be on track to get the benefits of a solid morning routine that you love. Let's shuffle the deck. Pick another card. Okay, so here we go. I feel, this one's fallen right out in my hand. Did you see that? Probably not because it's below the camera. Sync with the moon. Now this is an interesting one. Syncing with the moon. Can you see it? Whoops. There we go. Sync with the moon. So what does it mean to sync with the moon? What if you just took a moment every day and we can look at our app on our phone and see exactly where the moon is. For me, it's just on the weather app on my iPhone. It always tells you what phase of the moon is. So what if we just had a moment, maybe in our journal time or in our 2 minutes of silence that we're going to take, and we just thought about where are we in relation to the moon? Let's see what Jill wrote in the book about sync with the moon. Okay. I know syncing with the moon. This is interesting because I'm just coming to a phase where my women's cycles are not regular anymore because I'm transitioning from deep perimenopause to menopause. And so I used to sync my cycle. Now I'm starting to sync with the moon. Here's what she says. The mantra, and you can, repeat this or write this in the comments or write it down. I embrace my ebb and flow, my many phases, and the cycles of life. The moon is a powerful celestial entity that reflects the flow of our cycles and the many phases we go through. So you can actually look up, if this is very intriguing to you, you can look up how to sync yourself with the moon. And if that's something that interests you, you can, add it to your morning routine. What are some practical ways that this can actually be implemented when you're creating newness to your morning routine? You got to start small. I recommend, just focusing on one thing at a time. Like, what is the main thing that's the most important to you that you want to do more of? Do that thing first. So just like choose like one or two things to focus on initially. I think when we try to focus on too much too soon, that's when it all falls apart, which is why I'm creating this video in 2024 to start thinking about this before 2025, because January comes around and we want to change everything all at once. So if you start now and just start incorporating the habits of inserting maybe one extra thing that you want to do. And like I said before, you might not want to change your mornings at all, but there might be something that you want to add to your day. Maybe it's your nighttime routine. Just start small. Try different activities. Try them in different orders. Make it work for you in the time and space that you're in. And of course, when I have appointments or something that I have to be at earlier in the morning, I have to make sure that I have things ready the night before in order for the things that I like to do before I start my day, I can be successful at. So I think the word morning routine, I think people think it's boring or rigid. And so what should we call it? I like to call it a super step. What would you like to call it? What's going to get you fired up to do something? Like, does what you do in the morning before you start doing everything for everybody else, does it give you superpowers? Call it something that makes you feel excited, makes you feel a little badass, And maybe that'll give you a little bit more determination and motivation to keep going. And the validation that taking care of yourself before you take care of everyone else is one of the most selfless things that you can do. Another thing you can do is you can track your progress. Keep a journal about how you feel. I don't really like tracking my progress. I don't need another thing to track. So the way I do track my progress is through what my activity tracker says. There goes my desk. Look at that. I have a standing desk. Right now I'm not standing, I'm sitting at my standing desk. But hey, you can do that with these. We're going to pull our final card here. Geesh, there's some of these are really not wanting to come out. Some of them are really easy. Ground yourself. Ground yourself. Are you seeing a theme here? Okay, ground yourself. So again, we have the alone time, we have the syncing with the moon, and we have the ground yourself. You see how all three of those can work? They interconnect with one another, don't they? Let's see what she has to say about ground yourself, and we're going to get our mantras. We're going to have 3 mantras to go with. I need my glasses. Mantra: I am grounded, stable, and strong. When you're grounding yourself, you're basically just getting yourself together with the present moment, feeling your body on the earth, and connecting to nature. How do you feel after taking the time to connect with the earth physically and through a visualization? You can visualize when you're grounding. That's a great time to visualize how you want to feel. And so if you've done this before, quite often it's done in meditation or in prayer, grounding yourself. That's really, really great. So Jill Pyle, I'm not sure if it's Pyle or Pill, is the creator of Goddess Provisions, a community that provides resources and tools for people looking to connect with their divine feminine nature. And so there's a picture of her. Let's wrap up this episode with commitment to making mornings meaningful in 2025, whatever that means to you. And really now's a good time to put in the comments of what does that mean to you? What does a meaningful morning mean to you? I know what it means to me, and I really feel like it's individualized. I think a lot of times we can get swept up, especially as the new year approaches, that we have to do this set of things. And if we don't do this set of specific things in the right time, in the right order, that we are less than. And really, it's not like that. It's, in my opinion, it's setting up your mornings. It's going to make you feel like amazing. I know what that looks like for me. And I'm still a work in progress. Sometimes I need to tweak it. So we have 3 things that we can do that we've pulled the card that we can make sure that we're doing collectively throughout 2025. And that's alone time, syncing with the moon, and ground yourself. Those are pretty simple. I think the hard part is finding time. Maybe it's not finding the time, but it's allowing ourselves to spend that time. On that note, thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.